Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly.
So when people call me and say, "Hey, man, I want you to play my wedding," I'm like, "Okay, it's $50,000." And when I'm gonna show up for an hour and a half, and you're gonna give me 2 turntables. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not announcing the bride. I'm not talking to a fucking dumbass flower girl. Like, I'm gonna play what I play, and I'm gonna leave, right? And then they're like, "Okay." I'm like, "Okay, it's really only $5,000." But I've been, you know what I mean? But like, or whatever.
Well, all right. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skate.
Welcome back to the Party with Strategy podcast. Second time on the couch. The first time was really our first time meeting, and it was incredible. I think we had a great pod, and then now, after I've seen you work live in person, what you've created at that Starbucks event and how incredible that was, I have questions about that.
Sure.
I want to talk about Setspace for sure. I'm just glad to have you back. Thank you very much for blessing us again, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
DJ White Shadow, Paul Blair.
Hey.
Syph, lurking in the back. Wait. You're in front of the camera.
He's a pervert.
Wrong one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Diamond Cut's pissed already. Let's get it cracking. First of all, thanks to Long Drink. I know, Syph, you said you wanted a long drink, and I just got this new little 1-can cooler that I wanted to show off on the pod here. I was going to pass it through White Shadow to you, but yeah, okay, perfect. All right, we got it. Let's go. So
wait, shut the cooler, man. You don't want to get all. Oh yeah, you don't want to get all hot.
Wasting energy.
Yeah, some mini kid could get stuck in that thing, and you probably weren't alive when I was around. When I was a kid, they used to have this big thing. I don't know why, but they used to like make people take the doors off their refrigerator because they were afraid the kids would get stuck in their refrigerators and they would lock, like if they left them out for the trash.
Just the regular fridge in the crib?
I mean, maybe refrigerators used to lock from the inside or something like that. Or maybe it's probably like even when my parents were like younger, but it was like a big deal. Like, every once in a while, like something comes around, it's like a monster deal. Like where it's like, when I was a kid, also like Isaiah Thomas from the Detroit Pistons had like a big campaign, like not to touch downed power lines. People were freaked out about downed power lines. And for whatever reason, there was like a huge campaign that if you're going to throw away your refrigerator, make sure you take the door off because a kid could get stuck in it. So I was just saying that the joke probably went over your head that a mini kid would get stuck in that fridge if you left the door open. But yeah. Anyway,
I didn't even know that was a thing.
We'll have to Google that. I don't remember why that was a big deal, but it definitely was a big deal when I was younger. I was scared to death of getting stuck in a fridge for some reason. And
hilarious.
The Russians. You know what I mean? Ivan Drago. And
that might be coming back.
Yeah. Could be. It's always there. It's always looming in the distance.
Yeah, unfortunately.
You got to have somebody to hate out there, man. When there's nobody to hate, you can always turn to the Russians. They're so far away, yet so close. The closest country to America, Russia.
Is it?
Yeah, baby.
I didn't know
Closest
that.
country by proximity to America is Russia.
I never know what I'm going to learn with you.
Because
this is incredible.
However, the North America is, obviously is connected. I said America, but I meant like North America.
Yeah.
The Russian arm that comes over like the Sea of Otosk, like to Alaska. There's like a island that's Russian and an island that's American that you could throw a rock and hit it. They're like super close to each other. So officially, Russia's the closest continent to North America.
I see what's going on here.
Yeah.
I didn't.
So if you're ever on Jeopardy,
that's perfect.
They throw that at you.
That's perfect.
Where you heard it first.
Where did you learn that?
I don't know. A sieve of worthless knowledge just filtering through the universe.
But also a sieve of incredible knowledge.
Yeah, sometimes I have.
And I need to pick your brain on a couple things.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know if you're really even gonna want it. I don't know if this is like too personal of a question or if it's because it's sort of finance related, but from our last talk, I was extremely inspired by the way that you moved throughout your whole career, and even now existing from back then, the stories you told till now. It seems like you know how to get the money when you should be getting the money, and then money doesn't matter in this scenario because we're doing something cool.
Yeah.
And that Starbucks event was incredible.
Oh, thanks.
For anybody that...
It was incredible.
It was like mind-blowing.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
I had never been to anything like that.
Did you stay the whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was nuts.
It was, and for anybody who doesn't know, it was at the Starbucks Reserve on Michigan Ave, like third or fourth floor.
Yeah.
You opened up DJing.
Yeah.
And then a band gets on, and all of a sudden, Freeway comes out, Slum Village,
yeah,
Twista,
yeah,
Raekwon, EPMD,
yeah,
and then CeeLo.
Yeah.
Did I miss anyone?
Nope, that was it. All 6 of them.
They all came out and performed, and the band played all of their beats.
Yeah.
The Gold Coast All-Stars, right? That was the first time I seen them.
Yeah.
Dude, the whole thing was just amazing.
Yeah. Danny's a genius. The guy who runs that whole thing, Danny's a genius too. He's got a couple different bands in a couple different cities that are just made up with. He's like just a great, he's got a great eye for talent and like can put together like a really good thing, like really quick. So I'd hit him about the idea came, the opportunity came to me through a friend. And basically she was like, that Starbucks is looking for somebody to do a party and they don't really, know what they want to do. And I was like, well, I have plenty of ideas of what to do,
yeah.
And so they were like, they want it to be, it's parameters. There's parameters to it. And I was just like trying to put together in my head what I thought would be impactful, like in a couple different ways. For me, impactfulness lies in the dichotomy of ideas, right? Like if something's hard, then you have to have something soft. If something's hot, yeah, that's something cold. If something's whatever. White Men Can't Jump would have been a shit movie if both dudes were white. You know what I mean? I was like, yeah, to have black ass Wesley Snipes and white ass Woody Harrelson for it to be a good comedy, which is like over and over again. Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder and, even Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. It's like you put the opposites together. So like when I'm trying to come up with like an event that I don't do events a ton. Like, I mean, I've done very few actually, like where I'm really like chairing the whole thing. And you gotta mix it up so that there's something that people are like, what's going on here? And so it is, I could have had in my mind, it's like there's friends, you know what I mean? Like they're sitting at a coffee shop and some dude, mountain climber with an electric guitar walks in and plays whatever. And there's a bunch of people sitting there drinking their coffee and listen to some dude with a beard playing the guitar in a coffee shop. I think it's like a standard thing, right? It's like coffee shop jams, whatever, a bunch of hippies listening to electric or acoustic guitars. And so I was just like, what if you could do like the most hip hop shit of all time inside of a coffee shop, And so, yeah, I mean, it's crazy because since then I've learned that like Jadakiss has got his own coffee coming out. His family's like in the coffee business. Like somebody else has a coffee. Ghostface Killer's got a new coffee that's out. Like there's like people are like into coffee.
That's hilarious.
And I love coffee. Like it's coffee. I'm an idiot when it comes to coffee. I drink coffee all day. But I'm digressing. So anyway, I called a couple friends and I was like, hey, they gave me this date. It's a Thursday. What do we have? What do you have? And so the first call I made was to Big Daddy Kane because Kane and I are pretty close. So I called Kane and I was like, hey, can you do this? He's like, I gotta date that date. I gigged that date. And then I called CeeLo and CeeLo was like, oh, I'm already in town. I'm in Chicago and I'm doing like a private party. I'll just come by. I was like, great. And then it was like Slum Village, I'm close with from back in the day, called them, boom. It just started stacking. And then once I like said, whatever, I was like, hey, this is what's happening. Do you want to come? And Ray was like, oh yeah, I want to come. I had I actually had more people than that, like coming. And then it kind of like dwindled down at the end because I wasn't paying people what they probably should have been paid. The budget wasn't like monstrous for that. So I probably could have paid everybody more, but it was like kind of like a friend thing. And it was like an epic event that everybody was like really stoked to be a part of. And it went off without a hitch. There were moments where I was like, holy shit, this is crazy. Like, this is insane. Like, the crowd was wonderful. It was like a really good mix. Andrew Barber from Fake Shore Drive like helped me out with like, I wanted it to be an eclectic crowd, like my friends, his friends. I wanted it to be hip hop people, and I wanted people that had never heard of any of these people before, So it was like, it was a very much eclectic crowd, and it just felt really good. Like all night, people were really, really into it. So, yeah, I feel honestly that it could have been the best concert, a hip hop concert in a coffee shop in the history of all hip hop. I have to check on that.
If I had to guess, I would go with that too. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's ever been a more hip hop show ever in a coffee shop.
I don't think there's been a more hip hop show in Chicago.
Yeah.
Like anywhere in Chicago, but like for 200 people, I specifically was like, don't build a stage. Like, do not build a stage. I wanted everybody to wear the same clothes, so like people would feel like they didn't have to show out. So like I made it like mandatory, well, semi-mandatory. Got kind of screwed up at the end, but I told everybody they had to wear sweatpants and sweatshirts. I just wanted it to feel like you got invited by word of mouth to like one of your friend's mom's basement parties. You know what I mean? Like where it was like, oh, Tim's mom's gone and we're going to hang out after school and play some hip hop records and talk shit. It was like, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah. It was awesome.
I was very, very stoked about the way it came together.
And legit only possible with you at the helm of it, because you said they didn't give you a huge budget. If it was just some random promoter calling these guys up, hey, I want to book you for this party at Starbucks, they probably would have been like, all right, I need 50 grand or whatever, like some crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
And you got all of them to do it. It's like a $500,000 party, right? So I can't imagine that anybody would have been able to pull it off other than you doing it, because you could feel the love of what you created from watching you curate the whole thing,
And what's crazy is the guys that were there performing were as into it as I was. Like, it was like everybody stood there and watched the next guy. It was like when EPMD was up there, every other person that was there watching them, you know what I mean? And CeeLo, Slum Village, like everybody was like, because I can't even think of the last time that I saw EPMD play together, like live. And it was like it was somebody from a different area too, like Philly's from Philly and EPMD that, I mean, those guys are from South Carolina, you know what I mean? Like that, like, or whatever it is, that via New York. And then it's like CeeLo from Atlanta, we had the Midwest. It's like, so everybody was kind of like in a different group of people that were very much respectful of each other's like thing, you know? So yeah, it was cool, man. It was cool. Audience was great. People were just walking around. Like, it was just felt like everybody was friends. I tried to make, the one thing that I'm disappointed about is that I tried to make everybody, I wish everybody would have stuck to the sweatpants thing, because like there was still like 20 or 30% of the crowd that like showed up without sweatpants. And the only reason is because Barber was like, my crowd's not wearing sweatpants. I was like, that's because you have to tell them to wear sweatpants. Don't give them an option.
It was like 90 degrees.
It was hot.
But it was hot.
Worth it though.
It was hot. But I mean, like, it was like, it wasn't because it was 90 degrees, because most of the people that didn't wear sweatpants were dressed in like full leather and like, trying to show out. But that was the point that I was trying to like get across. I didn't want anybody showing up in like a Gucci Floyd Mayweather outfit, like sticking out like a sore thumb. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, I wanted it to be equal. I wanted everybody to be equal when they came in. And I wanted everybody to wear a name tag. Like I wanted people to get a name tag when they walked through the front door, and somehow that got lost in translation. But I was already so deep in the soup by the time I figured it out that I just gave up on it. Like, but it would have been nice if everybody would have had a name tag, because it's not just watching the show. It's like when you have that kind of crowd and you're bringing those people in, and really in general, like we used to go to the club and you walk out with like 4 new friends. Like now that doesn't happen anymore. So it's like I wanted it to be something where you might run into some guy that was like as into the music as you were, and you bond over the experience. What's up, Dave? What's up, Pete? What's up, Jenny? Whatever. And have a conversation about it later down the line. Tag each other on Instagram or whatever, and have a conversation about it. But I think, given that we did not have the name tags, people still really got to talking and having a good time with each other. It was pretty rad.
It was awesome.
Yeah, everybody loved it. And it was like on Rock the Bells. Like they were like posting about it on Rock the Bells. They were posting about it on like Complex. And like there was all these crazy media outlets that were blasting it out. I was like, how did these people even find out about it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like Rakim was commenting on the show. Like Rakim was like talking about it. Other rappers that weren't even there were talking about it. So
They were jealous.
yeah, we'll see.
They're ready to do the next one.
I know. We'll see what happens.
You just, just don't come too far in because you're going to cut into that camera. Oh, you're fine. What?
I was gonna say it's the best party since RSVP did one with Virgil, and Don C did one with all the good music people, where it's invite only, about a 250 person crowd, with like Kid Cudi, and I honestly think it surpassed it, to be honest, in like terms of a influencer crowd / invite only type shindig that doesn't really exist really anymore because budgets aren't there, or they don't find someone slick enough like him to pull it off.
Yeah, it feels like if that opportunity would have went into somebody else's hands, it could have been just like, all right, I'm going to take my cut and make my money, and then I'm going to just throw this party with the rest of the money. And it's like, it felt like it could have gone with not a lot of thought put into it.
Yeah. But like, the thing about that is, I guess, is like, that's years of like integrity and good business. Like I talked to Slum Village about what to do with their publishing, and me and CeeLo sat for 2 days talking about MGMT and like, you know what I mean? Like it's not, there's a lot of social currency out there that does it, that translates other than just getting a payday and walking and showing up, doing your job and leaving. Like everybody who was there because they wanted to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes for a good thing. I would have done all of them. I mean, I don't know what they did in the other cities for the thing, but I would have done all of them if I had the time. But it is what it is.
It's just really cool to see that relationship still exists even on the highest level. You know, like you're a local Chicago DJ who's got some connections, and you can pull a couple of the other cool, fun, most popular DJs together. Yeah. And then as everybody grows, and let's say, someone's DJ Khaled now, and now someone's DJ, I don't know who's big DJ. It's Diplo, like all these guys.
It's D Nice is the one that I think of like immediately. It's like that dude is so. I've known Derek for a really long time, and I first met him because I knew Biz. I was friends with Biz. And I was at Winter Music Conference, probably like in one of the first couple years that it ever was going. And I was doing some party where it was like a hip hop thing. They wanted I used to do this party. Adam 12. Adam 12 was like a hip hop DJ in LA, but he also is the bass player for She Wants Revenge.
It sounds really familiar.
Yeah, he used to make like cut records like when on vinyl. Like he's a good DJ, but he used to throw this party called Aphex. and I used to play this party called Aphex with him probably once every 6 weeks or 2 months. And it was like a really great party where it was like a precursor to like the do-over or like one of those things, like where everything was, you were playing the samples. Like I was coming in with like 45s and like, you know what I mean? Like crazy records that were like obscure, and you could play like a Black Moon record and then play like the sample from it and then play a rock record that, you know what I mean? Like you could play a bunch of different genres and like, but it all kind of led back to hip hop. So Biz used to come and I used to talk to him, come to the party, and I used to talk to him, and then he introduced me to D Nice, and I was like super stoked to meet D Nice because when I was young, Call Me D Nice, of course, was like a great record, but like Self Destruction, he produced Self Destruction, like he was the DJ at the end of I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Like I just thought he was like super dope. Like, and so it was really cool to meet him, but at the time he wasn't DJ anymore. He was taking pictures. He was doing photography. And he took really, really great pictures. He still takes really, really great pictures. But like to watch Derek's like rise over the last like, couple years, especially with the club quarantine thing. Like I was talking to him the first day he did it, and then the second day, and then the third day he was like, I don't want to do this anymore because like it's so. I just played for 16 hours out of the last 32 hours, And I was like, people are going to appreciate it, And he was like, yeah, I know, but man, blah, blah, blah. And then it was like the third or fourth show. It was like Michelle Obama was in there and, whatever. It's like people are, what's going on? And like, Derek is one of those dudes that has stayed the course. You know what I mean? Unwavered, stayed the course. And I used to invite him to all the Gaga stuff in New York, and like nobody really knew who he was. You know what I mean? Like he would come and hang out, Super Bowl party, whatever he was around. I would like come and hang out in the booth and let's kick it. And he would always show up, always pay attention, always go out and try and do something. And man, it's just like when the door opens and you can put your foot in there, it's like a miraculous thing. But Derek's that kind of guy where it's like, he was the first person I called for this Will Ferrell thing. And he said, yes, whatever you want, 2 seconds. You know what I mean? When they called me from Yo Gabba Gabba to do the Biz Markie like reboot, called Derek, hey, you want to do this? Like I try and call him on every single thing that comes across my plate because he's just such a stand-up dude and like works so hard. And he's just, you know what I mean? He's got the social currency that guy has is insane.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That club quarantine was insane, bro.
Yeah.
That is what opened the door for every DJ to go on Twitch and do the live streams and all that shit over the pandemic.
But you know what it was about that? It wasn't even the DJing. And I'll tell you what it was. And this is like, he might disagree with me on this, but like because he is a great DJ. But that was a chance for everybody to see how many people loved him. So he was playing records like that for years and years beforehand. He played at the White House a couple of times before that. He played a bunch of stuff, but nobody was really paying attention. And then all of a sudden, like the world shuts down, people are looking for something to look at, and then he's playing good music, and then it's also like, oh shit, this whole group of people is showing up in here. You know what I mean? It's like Omari Hardwick and like, God only Kiki Palmer and whoever else is in this thing. Beyonce, I don't know who else showed up. It was crazy. But they didn't just show up because all of a sudden, like he became this great DJ. He had been a great DJ for years and thrown great parties for years, and he just wasn't good about talking about it. And then he got into a situation where the funnel closed, and people had to pay attention to what was coming out of the end of the funnel instead of looking at the whole bottle of water getting poured into it. And it was like, oh shit, this guy must be dope because if Michelle Obama likes him, how the hell Michelle Obama doesn't know who I am? You know what I mean? So it's like I think it was a chance for the magnifying glass to really get turned to him and what an excellent human being he is and what a great character he is to know all these people and have DJed for all these people and to entertained all these people for that long. So it's not just that he's a good DJ, it's also that he built up all that, you know what I mean, that social currency, and that is just from working hard and being a good person, you know?
Yeah, that's dope. I feel like that's happening a little bit more now. At least I can see it in the world that I'm in, the club world, nightlife. For the last couple of years prior to COVID, it felt like fuck the DJ, I want to hear what I want to hear kind of vibe. But now you get people who are paying a little bit more attention and want to follow. They hear you do a dope set, they want to follow you. Yeah. They want to support you. They want more of it. They're respecting the craft a little bit more.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it started as, and it does this, everything in life does this. So it's like if you're not feeling it if you're not feeling it at that point, all you gotta do is wait. It's gonna come back. You know what I mean? Like people think, I mean, back to D Nice. It's like as soon as he started taking off, everybody and their mothers like playing all these records, and I heard rumblings of like, well, how is this guy? Who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, what's this guy about? I mean, and it's like, you know what? You weren't paying attention, and you don't know what happened on the last 3 waves like that he was on. You know what I mean? This dude's been out in the water for the last 2 weeks. You just showed up on the beach 4 minutes ago. You know what I'm saying? So he knows where the waves are at, and so it's just like, again, I feel like a lot of times people bow out to like what is hot at that moment. I gotta do online. I gotta run and do this because this is how people are making money. I got to do this. And it's like, that's not the move, dude. The move is to stay what you are. If you're DJ Premier never went out and made a bunch of EDM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The number of those guys, Kid Capri or Red Alert or whatever, you do what Funkmaster Flex, you do what you do, and you do it really great. And then when the wave comes back, you're on top of it again. Carl Cox never started making mumble rap when, you know what I mean, or hip hop when stuff goes down in the house community. Yeah. So it's like you stick to it and you're a legend. But when you are chasing success via whatever success looks like at that moment, you become not yourself anymore. You become somebody that's driving a car looking for something that, you know what I mean, it's not yours anymore. Yeah. And at some point you get so far away from what was yours, you don't even know what it was anymore. Nobody knows what it was either. And then you're totally assed out. I've seen that happen plenty of times.
I think that's the most prominent battle inside of myself every day as a DJ is like, I want to do what I want, but I also have to appease the algorithm gods or the table spenders or whatever it may be that's pulling you away from like what you truly love to do.
Yeah. Well, again, we can have a much deeper conversation about this, but I think a lot of what made me successful over the years, like, is I liked doing what I was doing, and when I was doing what I was doing, like when I was at the club, I didn't give a fuck. Like I never did any of that. But that's why people liked me at that point, because that was the first time they ever saw it. You know what I mean? I could walk into the biggest club in Chicago and play, the theme from the Golden Girls, and people were like, "Oh shit, this is cracking." You know what I mean? Like at a hip hop club, because I don't care how hip hop you are. You know who fucking Ruth and Blanche are. You know what I mean? Like it's like that. It doesn't matter. Everybody knows who those people are. I was this is a crazy story, but I used to throw a party when I was younger called the Analog Soiree, which was like post Atari, pre like Sony PlayStation disc, like post cartridge, pre disc.
Okay.
And so I used to bring in all these Ataris, and I would have old school hip hop guys come in they were my heroes when I was a kid. These dudes were coming in for like $500 because nobody paid them shit at that point. You know what I mean? It was a party at my college. I didn't have any money, but I could book Curtis Blow for $1,500 or $1,000. I booked Houdini, and they got caught in a snowstorm, and they had to emergency land in Detroit. And so my school was up further, about an hour outside of Detroit. And so I drove to Detroit. I rented a white Astro van, drove to Detroit, had an AM/FM radio in it with like one speaker on the dashboard. Drove to Detroit in the night, in the middle of a blizzard, picked these dudes up at the airport and drove them an hour and a half, and we're also in the car, and the radio was just like, there's nothing on the radio, no tape player, no CD player, nothing. And so I'm scrolling through the thing trying to find anything to play because I'm like with 3 dudes that had just got landed in a snowstorm that I have no idea who they were, trying to find some common ground. I'm scrolling through, and you know that song in summertime, in the summertime when the weather is hot,
Yeah.
Mongo Jerry. I get to some channel where it fuzzes in this Mongo Jerry song, and one of them was like, "Stop!" And I'm like, "You want to hear this?" And they were like, "Yeah, this is my shit." and I bumped this. We're rolling through a snowstorm playing "Summertime" with Mongo Jerry with Houdini in the back, and they're all jamming out the words to it. And I was just at that moment, I was like, man, you don't give people enough credit when you're playing records. You got to play shit that's fucking dope, no matter what the genre is.
Mm-hmm.
Because if these are the most hip hop dudes. These dudes wrote Friends, you know what I mean? And Freaks Come Out at Night, and they're jamming to this. You mean this is what I can play? And so like I went through this whole cycle when I was 19. That I was throwing this party.
That's insane.
I went through this whole cycle where I was like, I'm gonna go, and I digress a lot when I talk, but this is also crazy. When we were posting the Will Ferrell stuff the other day, some girl from my college was like, "Is that DJ White Shadow Paul?" And D Nice was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "He used to have it going on campus. It was crazy." Because it's true. It's true, dude. I used to play the craziest parties because everybody was in a box. And I would I would play all the white people parties and then play all the black people parties, play the exact same shit. And then I would, because all the music was popular, it was like, oh, blah, blah. But I started experimenting with stuff that I knew that I could get away with. The theme to Love Boat, the theme to whatever, like some One Night in Bangkok by, Murray Head, or some weird song that like I thought was dope that like I didn't know anybody would know. And when you cut out of like an Usher song to like One Night in Bangkok and you're the only white motherfucker in the whole party and there's 2,000 people there and everybody's singing One Night in Bangkok, dude, it's exhilarating. You know what I mean? So I was like, that's the energy I want to take, wherever I go. And what I'm saying is that there's always room for that. So whether or not you break a couple eggs trying to make the omelet of like whatever, your career, you have to be able to be stronger than the dude that's spending $1,000 on bottle service. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If the guy walks in with $1,000, I mean, you could. There's probably 20 people that could validate this story, but people would walk up to me in the booth and be like, "Play Britney Spears," and I'd be like, "Fuck you," and they'd be like, "No, this table over here wants to hear this table." I'm like, they're not gonna fire me here. I don't give a fuck what you want to hear. Fucking, you bought a bottle, drink the fucking bottle. You don't like what you're playing, go up the street, buy another bottle over there. I'm not playing Britney Spears. Beat it. Here's $500. I would take that $500 and rip it up in front of their face and just throw it right back at them. Not because I didn't want the $500, and not even because I didn't need the $500, but the integrity for me, what I was playing, was bigger than any sum of money. I don't need your fucking money. I'm not a waiter. You know what I'm saying? Don't tip me. You know what I mean? Don't fucking tip me. Who do you think you are walking in here? You don't think I get paid enough doing this shit? You know what I mean? I spent fucking $30,000 on this vinyl. You know what I mean? I'm carrying around the fucking snow. You walk in here with $100, you think you're gonna change my mind? Fuck off. So over that time, people start to say, oh shit, well, Paul is serious about this shit. You know what I mean? That is what leaves a long-lasting impact. That's what leads to meeting these guys. When I met CeeLo, for example, we didn't sit down and go, oh, fuck, man, Soul Food's my favorite song of all time. Oh, Goody Mob was so fucking great. I was like, what do you like? We started talking about Dolly Parton and fucking MGM, like literally like MGMT, Justice. Like we were going through this whole fucking thing. I'm like, oh shit, this is, Hall and Oates and, deep cuts, you know what I mean? About stuff. And to be in the presence, to be in love with something and be in the presence with somebody that's in love with something is totally a game changer, right? For me to be up there and playing when I'm not in love with it, I don't do that anymore. I don't think I ever did it. But there's been times where I've done it and it's been completely unfulfilling. Do you know what I mean?
I know exactly.
So when people call me and say, "Hey man, I want you to play my wedding," I'm like, "Okay, it's $50,000." And when I'm gonna show up for an hour and a half, and you're gonna give me 2 turntables. I'm not talking to anybody. I'm not announcing the bride. I'm not talking to a fucking dumbass flower girl. Like, I'm gonna play what I play, and I'm gonna leave, right? And then they're like, "Okay." I'm like, "Okay, it's really only $5,000." But I've been, you know what I mean? But like, whatever. But like, you have to make sure that people understand. This is the challenge of DJing. I don't want to jump into the Setspace thing either, but this is why I made that, is because I want people to want to hire you for what you want to play, because when that happens, you can learn something from the guy who's playing, right?
Yeah, I really want to talk about Setspace.
Yeah, you can learn something. You can be an educator as a DJ, what adds value to yourself as a DJ, what adds like a panache to the party that doesn't happen when you're playing a jukebox. Like, why won't you just play a fucking jukebox if you had some guy up there telling you what to play because of a fucking, you know what? I'm going to run outside, grab the Wurlitzer, throw it up here, and you guys can put your fucking quarters from the change from your bottle service in it and play whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean? If that's the playing field that we're playing on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather play in a fucking Chinese restaurant serving dim sum up the street and play what I want, because I'm going to walk out with a bunch of happy, fucking chicken feed eaters versus whoever's drinking top shelf vodka over here that doesn't give a fuck about what I'm playing anyway. I want to play for who wants to hear it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that is, I think, what's making a huge comeback is DJing, doing pop-ups, right? Playing in a pizza spot, playing at a Chinese spot, playing at an obscure spot, but bringing the crowd there because they know that they're about to hear a particular genre or style or DJ, and they want to be there, and the DJ wants to be there, and it's taking things out of the nightclubs, really. Yeah. And I hope that Setspace is able to pour gasoline on that fire.
Yeah. Me too.
And I know that, like, we talked at the event that you did. You had everyone at the office, and we signed up for Setspace, and we got the invite for it. It's in beta, and we made profiles and stuff. And I know that the foundation of it is like LinkedIn for DJs, right? Is what you said. It's sort of like that. It connects DJs on a more professional, deeper, like, dive into the DJ that they are, rather than just an Instagram page. Yeah. And it has the potential to do bookings for you. You can, a club could get on and say, "We want DJ strategy," and just press click book now. And, it connects you with the club and all that. And I think that's amazing for a lot of DJs who don't have those connections or social skills, or there's incredible DJs who are just introverts. Yeah, most of them, I would even say, and they have a hard time getting gigs because they don't go out and they don't talk to people, and like, that whole aspect is incredible for that. But for me, the most intriguing part was when you were telling me about how it's gonna be able to connect a DJ that wants to play a specific genre with the consumer that wants to hear that genre. Yeah. And that, I think, is amazing. And I wanted to, like, pick your brain on it and see if that's even a vision that you had for it.
Well, that it's what we're talking about now, right? It's like I mean, I suppose that there's times where people, I was thinking about, like, the Mos Def interview when he was like, Drake makes music for Target, which I don't agree with. But I was trying to, like, not make it sound like that, like, where it's nice to sometimes just go out and listen to fluff, right? Like, I mean, like, it's nice to, if I want to listen to a bunch of top of the pop stuff, like whatever's on Billboard Top 100. I want to chill out with my friends or whatever. There's a place for that, right? But it's like, for me, personally, it's like I want to hear what an expert has to say that I should be listening to at that particular time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like you don't like go into a restaurant and be like, hey, what kind of wine should I get with this steak? And then they're like, hold on, let me get the sommelier. And you're like, oh no, I don't want the sommelier. Grab the bathroom attendant real quick and ask him what he drinks with this steak, right? And it's not like maybe the bathroom attendant is a fucking incredible sommelier himself. I have no idea. But what I'm saying is, somebody who's spent their entire life, figuring out a solution to like whatever the thing is that they're trying to figure out. How do I make these people dance? How do I show these guys something that they haven't seen before? That's what a DJ did. I mean, like by definition, at the very beginning, it's like, I'm picking a record out and I'm playing it for you to change your mood, right? I'm going to do it over and over and over again. I'm just going to play the break of this part. I'm just going to play this part of this part. And I'm going to create the sonic environment that is long lasting. And it, by design, is it becomes a larger piece of art all by itself, right? It's like, why would I not ask the guy that wants to do that? Why wouldn't I give him free reign to do what he wants to do? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the reason is because it's commodity. And so when you say moving it out of the clubs, it's not going to move out of the clubs forever. The clubs are going to be forced. It's going to get taken away, and then they're going to have to reinvent the way that it works.
Which is what we need.
Yeah.
We need to take it from them so that they're forced to reinvent it.
The way the American business system or any business system is caught up on, you have loyalty to your shareholders, and like, why 1 million people invested X amount of dollars into your club, and all of a sudden some dickhead's going to pay $10,000 for a bottle. It's your fiduciary duty to take the $10,000 for the bottle, thereby playing Britney Spears for the guy that wants the it's part of the system, right? Mm-hmm. But I think what Setspace is encouraging people to do, which goes to whatever you're saying there, is like, when I walk into a city, or I walk into my city, if I come downtown Chicago, right? If I'm in my house and I decide to go to the West Loop, or I don't decide, I'm just going out, and I say, hey, what's going on tonight? Where do you find that information? You call your friends, you look at Yelp, you look at Do 312 or whatever's happening, let's go see this, or let's go that, or a certain club is going on, there's a certain DJ, whatever, blah blah. Like, what if there was a crazy selector DJ like picking ska music at a Chinese restaurant? You know what I mean? Like, for me, and probably a bunch of other people in Chicago that like ska that I don't know, that would be a cool thing to go watch. So now you're selecting what you're choosing to do, not based on what other people think is cool, but what you think is cool, right? Or what is actually cool, right? So-and-so's playing wherever, at the Wiener Circle or whatever it is.
That's,
you know what I mean?
That's Marshmallow.
Yeah, Marshmallow play there. But less commercial than that even, where it's like, I want to, even if it's like, a lot of people haven't heard of like the Green Mill, right? Like, a lot of people may not have heard of the Green Mill, but when you find out about the Green Mill, and they're like, oh, it's this jazz place that's been around since like the 1900s, and Al Capone used to go there, and it used to be connected to the theater that's like the biggest freestanding theater in the United States, and it hasn't been opened in forever. Then it's like, oh shit, what is this place? And then you go there. I mean, it's not the Taj Mahal. The Green Mill's not like, whatever, but it's a thing. And when you're sitting in there watching it, you feel a thing. And whether you like jazz or not, you leave being like, oh man, maybe I should get into jazz. This is crazy. Because it's people educating you about jazz in an environment that perpetuates that education. And so like, we as DJs should be creating that more often for ourselves, right?
Yes.
We should have the opportunity and the means to reach people directly and to explain to people directly, like, hey, tonight I'm going to be playing a strictly yacht rock party at that weird boat on whatever street off of, whatever Lakeshore Drive where you see that crazy looking weirdo boat.
Castaways.
Yeah, whatever it is. I'm going to throw a party there and I'm only going to play Kenny Loggins, right? And we're going to only serve Mai Tais and pineapple, drinks out of pineapples. When everybody leaves, I don't care if you know what it was or not, everybody's going to love that music. If you do, you know what I mean? If somebody cares enough to throw that party and people are educated enough to go, by the time they leave, everybody's going to love that music. They're going to get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my parents used to play Jimmy Buffett all the time. My parents are much whiter than I am for a number of reasons, but they used to play Jimmy Buffett, and I fucking hated Jimmy Buffett. I hated it because I had to listen to it all the time. I didn't get it. Usually because I was in the fucking back seat of a velour, Buick Regal or some shit driving to Ohio. But listening to Jimmy Buffett was the worst. When I got older and I got to go to south of Florida and listen to Jimmy Buffett, not at some parrot head thing at Wrigley Field, but actually be in the Florida Keys listening to Jimmy Buffett, it's mind blowing. It's like there's a song called Pirate Looks at 40. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't know that one.
Oh, it's a deep cut. I mean, it's like introspective and it's like Stevie Nicks Landslide for people in Florida. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, in Key West. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're not taking the chance or giving people the opportunity to educate them about things in an environment, sometimes it misses the point, right? So if these mega clubs are built to deliver you top 40 and you want to hear top 40, then go to that club. If you want to DJ top 40, go to that club. But you know what? If you're DJing top 40, everybody's playing the exact same songs as you're playing in top 40. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like there's people that stick out, and not just because they throw some fucking weird song that everybody thinks is cool and they do some wordplay thing or whatever, but there's people out there that really give a deep fuck about the music that they're playing. I want to find those places and go to them.
Yeah. And my vision, and correct me if I'm wrong, for Setspace, that gets me excited when I think about it, is if I were to be able to go, somewhere in Avondale that's got a really cool cocktail lounge that doesn't have DJs, or even a restaurant that's got just a sick aesthetic and vibe, and they have created this space, but it's not utilized for a party. They don't throw a party in there. Yeah. But I could potentially go in there and say, hey, I love this space and I want to DJ here and I want to play cool house music. I want to play deep house music in here. I think it matches the vibe perfectly. Yeah. And this app right here is going to help me to bring people in here who want to hear that music.
Yeah. Because technically, in theory, hopefully in practice, they will already have found you. And I use people in extreme genres because it's easiest to talk about, right? It is a concept. So let me go back to the yacht rock thing one more time. Graham, Funky, and Stone Rock have the captains of industry. They've always been in the boat vibe. Yeah, in the boat vibe. And they started a yacht rock mix show on Sirius. And so in theory, I would say, oh shit, I heard this mix show or whatever. I saw these guys, or Strategy said, I like Strategy, and Strategy said the captains of industry were good. Or I like White Shadow, and he said the captains of industry are good. So I found them. Now I can see where they're playing and what they're doing based on where they move to. I don't have to follow 700 clubs to see when they pop up. I can follow them and see when they're popping up at the clubs, which adds value to them because the more people that are following them just for their DJing, not because they have a Ferrari or throw money in the air, date whoever. It's like they're good at what they do and they're artists. So now I'm going to follow them to wherever they go. So if they pop up at the fish keg in Evanston, serving coconut shrimp and playing Michael McDonald, which would be a great party.
That'd
by
be
the way.
Incredible.
there's a way to reach people in a more authentic, direct way based on what you like, what you're delivering, and sometimes what you're not delivering. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And speaking of Evanston, someone definitely has to do a pop-up at Buff Joe's. Call it Wings and Tings. Maybe
Yeah.
it's like an Afro house there, and Afro beat thing.
I feel like you said, like that is the way things are going, and it's only that way because things get played out.
Yeah.
It gets played out, man. And not to be, I'm not trying to be like a pessimist or like a fucking bonehead about it. I'm just saying, like, it's like you can only see the same show so many times before you're like, yeah, I want to try something different.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get pounded in the fucking head for 7 hours. Some douchebag spilling vodka all over my back while I'm trying to, listen to something,
Yeah. I don't think you're being a pessimist. I feel like you're leading the charge and taking the reins of fixing the problem, with Setspace. And so you're talking about like having followers and then, people you can post and they can see where your party's at and they can go to your party. That to me, that's Instagram. That's exactly what Instagram is. I feel like a DJ app based in music, curated around trying to find the music that you want to hear, could even potentially be better off to have people following the music rather than the artist.
That's the difference between what I'm talking about and Instagram. When you go on Instagram and you're following a bunch of DJs and they say, hey, Saturday night, this is popping up. And you follow that and I'm going to go there Saturday night. You tell your friends you're going. What I'm saying is, like, right now, in theory, we could leave here, open up our phones and be like, yo, where can we go listen to hip hop? Where can we go listen to yacht rock? Where can I go listen to Guar? Which DJ out there might play Guar tonight? And then whether I know that DJ or not, whether I follow him on Instagram or not, whether, you know what I mean? I know the venue, I know the area. I can tell what's going on based on music. I'm the type of person that wants to go out based on music. I'm not trying to make buddies with people or pick up my future wife at a club. I want to hear Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
So where do I go to listen to that? Because it's not Tao. No offense.
Yeah. No.
So yeah. Is it at the first floor of Celeste? Is it at the the barbershop? Like I'd sit in a barbershop for 7 hours and listen to hip hop and talk to people about hip hop before and have a much better time than I would going to some mega club to listen to some whoever.
Yeah, I think it's so perfect to base it around the music and people trying to find spaces that they can hear the music they want to hear and enjoy themselves outside of a nightclub or even nightlife environment. This could happen during the day. You know what I'm saying? This could happen at 5 p.m. instead of 10 p.m.
Yeah.
It's giving the power to the selectors to throw a pop-up. It's encouraging pop-up culture, if you will, if that's even a thing. I don't know.
No, it's a thing. It's a thing.
And yeah, I think that is where the biggest strength in this app lies. It's not in gaining your own followers and watching your number go up like on Instagram and then just trying to figure out how to game the system and get the most followers and hack the algorithm and all that. It should be like, you can't even see how many people like this subgenre of meme house.
Yeah.
You just, if that's what you like, that's the party you're throwing, and that's the avenue you're advertising down, and whoever likes it will see that.
Yeah. And I'll tell you one more thing before we get off this particular part of the topic. It's house has existed for the last 40 years. Hip hop has existed for the last 50 years. Techno, whatever. All these things have existed. The EDM, what we're calling EDM now, the reason why so many people love EDM is because it got fed to you. It got fed to you. It was something that somebody in an office looked at it said, holy shit, I'm sending out this band or this rap group or this girl group or this boy group out for a 30-person or 30 stop tour. And it cost me X amount of dollars, and I got to deal with 4 different agents and 7 different moms and 8 different whatevers, and here's what this is. Or I could just get this one guy who's selling 5,000 tickets over here. Like, let me bring this guy over here and try and do this and blah, blah. All of these things that you get as a consumer that are in that top 40 are very carefully concocted for you. Not for reasons of it being good all the time. I mean, a lot of times it is good. But I'm saying, like, that's not always the first mantra. The music business is not music first. It's business first, no matter who tells you otherwise. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't get out, right? You can walk into the biggest, best record label in the country and say, hey, I have an album that sounds like Elton John and, Guns N' Roses and Public Enemy combined, and it's the Mozart of today's, it's the upper echelon, top peak, perfect record. And if you don't have the followers or the data or whatever, that record will sit there and gather dust. So you got to think about this. It's just like food, right? It's like all these people coming up with gluten allergies. Like, we don't have gluten allergies in Europe because they don't let them spray shit all over the food that, or whatever. I'm making that up. I don't know the science.
No, that's true.
Okay.
That's for sure.
But
true.
But what I'm saying is that, like, people here in America especially, and there's good parts about this too. It's not all bad. What I'm saying is there's very specific intent when you get delivered music to you. And that is that it makes money. It makes money for somebody, somewhere, somehow. It makes more money than the last thing that was out, right? People don't pay attention to it until they're like, oh shit, this has gathered enough moss on this stone for me to be able to take it, package it, and make a shitload of money off of it, right? The Green Day is not the Sex Pistols. Green Day is a great band. Sex Pistols pissed down Green Day's throat if they called punk rockers. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like hip hop like is the same way. It's like what we're listening to now isn't hip hop, right? We're labeled under hip hop, but it's not hip hop, something else. And I would argue with you that somebody who's selling out a stadium for 80,000 people is not electronic music anymore. It's a fucking light show. I don't know what it is, right? So eventually we got to start. I think that this comes with the democratization of the world through the internet. We have to start, like, looking for people that really give a fuck about what they're doing. Not like some candy corn asshole that, like, a label put in because he's, like, wildly handsome and, you know what I mean? Will take shit. A lot of these guys that are playing, like, are doing fucking 2 shows a day, dude. 2-3 shows a day for, like, the same price point that you'd send one band out a night. Oh, he's doing Vegas here. He's doing Texas later that night. He's doing L.A. in the morning. Then he's doing Seattle, at night. Does an opening set here and then closing set here. It's like, yo, somebody's making 30-40% off that. An agent, a manager, a label, whatever, records come out. Somebody owns a publishing. There's a lot of business behind that. So what I'm saying is, I like that. I get it. I understand it pretty well. I was pretty, I did it for a really long time. What I would like to build, or what I'm trying to build and deliver, it's built, I'm delivering it, is that I want to see people that have that spirit of, like, I do nothing else but this. I love music. I make music. I play music. I saw this guy the other day. I do this a lot. Sorry, I'm digressing again. Have you seen the guy who's like, what if Metallica was a yacht rock song?
That was the craziest shit. I tried to download that after I heard it, and I couldn't find a download.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is we're coming to that point where it's not just about the creativity for, like, I picked this song and this song and this song and I put it together. we're getting to a point where we're saying like, oh my God, what if, the Uzi Shuffle was a Yacht Rock song or whatever it is, you know what I mean? And like people are going to be able to expand that creativity and deliver bigger packages, like as far as creativity goes, to a smaller niche audience. And so for me personally, I know that people that play shows for 40,000 people make a good amount of money, right? You're out there, you're superstar X, and you're doing a tour, an arena tour, and blah blah. I know people that play shows for 500 to 1,000 people, makes good money, and they enjoy themselves 55,000 times more. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because you're able to do stuff, connect stuff, whatever. And I want to try and make something for that, right? I want to try and give people the footing where it's like you come up with this magnum opus that you don't know what to do with it. Well, here's what you do with it. You find the people that like you and you play it for them. And then you build a crew and then whatever. Don't walk into the label door and expect a hand on this and them to be like, oh my God, you're a genius, because there's 50 million geniuses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They probably have a bunch of them signed sitting at their house, right, waiting for somebody else to fall off the bench so they can put them on, So anyway, this for me is a way to categorize, organize, put your things together, tell people who you are, get people that like who you are to like you for who you are, and then do stuff about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you were talking about incorporating like a playlist that you can make on Spotify.
Yeah.
And embed that into the app, and
Yeah.
people will be able to see, you can make a house playlist and they'll see what kind of house is on there and they can do that. Is there any sort of way to tap into Spotify's statistics? Because like my boys that make music say that they love Spotify the most because they get the most insight into the stats from their music, the plays, where the people are, like all that data.
Yeah.
Important.
So I'm at a crossroads with all that as far as like other people's data goes. Do you understand what I'm saying by that? It's like I don't really give a fuck if Big Dick Randy streamed 70 million times. You know what I mean? Big Dick Randy was a great song when it streamed 2 times. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was at a club and never heard Big Dick Randy and somebody played Big Dick Randy on Halloween or whatever, I'd be like, this guy's a genius. You know what I mean? So if you don't know what Big Dick Randy is, everybody should look it up. It's amazing. But I guess what I mean is this. The only reason I wanted to integrate a Spotify or an Apple Music or some sort of playlisting into the app is to say, hey, here's what I'm listening to right now. So that I could go to Strategy's page and see, you can update that as much as you want. But like that gives you the opportunity to be on the spot, live, outside the club curator for people to learn new music. In a world where everything's picked for us by an algorithm, or like there's so much rain coming down that you can't even figure out where to get a glass of water at. It's nice to be able to say, oh, I like what Strategy plays. I like Strategy. What did he post? What are the 10 songs he's got up right now? Because I want to listen to them. And I want to add them to my playlist. And then you find, yourself liking the person that's picking the music. Just like I used to listen to certain DJs on the radio because I knew that they would pick cool records, and when their show came on, I'd be like, oh, this dude's picking the hot stuff, like it's dope. Or certain programs I've been on MTV back in the day, it would be like, I'm listening to Yo MTV Raps because I know that they're gonna play whatever, new shit. So it's like whoever I want to put the curator title back in DJ's hands, right?
Yeah.
Versus the algorithm, because a DJ can explain to you why they chose it. You understand what I'm saying? And put you in that environment. I don't think that we're even close to a computer being able to tell us, like, hey, if you like Strokin' by Clarence Carter, you're going to love this song, Marvin C's Candy Liquor. Why? Because they're both like sexual innuendo songs made by blues guys that are very prolific in the blues, and they're both kind of funny and they're good musically. But you should check them if you like this song, "Stroking," which is a very popular song. You should listen to Marvin C's. It's not as popular, but you're gonna like it, right? And then if you like that, you should listen to "Why Does It Hurt When I Pee" by Ted Nugent. And because it's funny as hell. It's pretty good music, and not Ted Nugent. I'm sorry, Frank Zappa. And so it's like Frank was a funny dude, very talented musician, and he wrote a couple of crazy ass songs. So here's the Frank Zappa version of what these blues guys were doing. And if you like that, you should listen to "Too Close" by Next, because it's about dancing with a chick with a boner while you're, whatever. It's like those would not get connected on the algorithm in Spotify. But like if we're having a conversation about songs that are funny by dudes that are really talented, like a DJ I can pull those up. I know what those are. I don't have a computer attached to me. I just called Frank Zappa Ted Nugent on accident.
Yeah.
But like what I'm saying is that like I have it in my head because I've been doing this shit since I was 6. So, I don't think that that's going to go away anytime. So I want people to be able to have that conversation and be able to talk to somebody and have somebody that shows up that's not a Wurlitzer.
So with that being said, there has to be some use for a playlist. Like, for example, I went on Thursday to the Whistler for Slot A and Ace Spades Colors Party, which is their version of R&B and things that R&B has inspired.
Yep.
And they made a playlist specifically for...
That sounds cool, by the way.
It was really dope. Yeah. It was extremely inspiring. Those dudes are nasty. With the stems, Serato stems.
Yeah.
I never seen anyone rip it like them.
Yeah.
But every one of those parties every month, I think they're on 3 or 4, is connected to a playlist they make. So they're throwing this party, and then they have this playlist that represents the types of stuff you're going to hear at this party. Mm-hmm. So I feel like that's got to be in some way useful information to connect you with people.
Well, that's exactly what it is, except for it's not a party, it's a DJ. The playlist is what's representing the DJ. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I'm sure that if one of those DJs from that party had a way to describe himself, you know what I mean? Some of that description would be that party. Some of it might be something else that he's doing somewhere else. Some of it might be whatever, but there's probably no Britney Spears on any of those playlists. Maybe there is, but there might be. I don't know. What I'm saying is that's up to the DJ, not up to wherever. What did they have at the party? Where was the club?
It was on Milwaukee. It's called Whistler.
Okay, I don't know what that place is, but like what I'm saying is that they probably do different stuff there on different nights as well.
Yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is that if I showed up the next night, I'm not getting the party that you went to. I'm getting something different.
Right.
So what if I know the place and I like the place? Why am I leaving it up to the place to explain to me what, you know what I'm saying? Like what's happening. Just because I like the place doesn't mean I'm going to like what's happening every night. If I followed that, if you followed that crew, that party that you just said, if they threw one party every week, you would go to that party. It doesn't matter where it was. So that puts the value back on the guys that are playing the music and the guys that are choosing the music versus the venue, right?
Yeah.
So eventually they could throw that party in an abandoned firehouse and not even need the venue anymore, right?
Yeah.
Or if they want to take it to the venue would pay them appropriately to do so, which adds money where it should be being added, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what deal they cut with that venue. I don't even know what the venue is, but I'm saying like a lot of times DJs don't know what their value is walking into the place either, you know? And there's no way to articulate that. I saw a very famous DJ that I know, very famous DJ, post this thing the other day that was like, hey man, I want you to throw a party. And he was like, okay, cool. Yeah. When is it? It's the 17th. Well, what's the budget? Oh, what do you usually play for? Well, what's the budget? Like, what do you usually play for? Like the loop of like the endless
You
loop
go
or whatever.
first. You go
because you
first.
don't really know what you're worth. You don't know what you're supposed to say. And so I want to teach DJs to say, hey, I'm worth $20,000. Do you want to pay it? No? All right, well then pay the guy $1,000 and see what you get. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna make $20,000 in this guy's garage over here. Right?
Yeah.
Playing this party because I have enough people to do whatever. That's how you get to that point, right? A lot of times the record labels manufacture that for somebody. DJ X gets signed to record label X. Record label X says to DJ X, here's a bunch of records. We're going to pump them up for you. Go out and play it. But we now own a third of all your touring. We own half of all your merchandise. And we own X of whatever, right? So it's really a product. They're spinning a product. That DJ is part of that giant product. That DJ might not even be playing what he really likes to play. And you might not hear what that DJ really likes to play until he plays it on top of a fucking hot dog stand, right? Or whatever. So what I mean by that is that what doesn't really, it's irrespective of what is actually happening. It's more about what should be happening or what we want to happen. We want to be able to spend less time going and playing for $500 because we got to pay our bills. And I want to play once for $5,000 for 5,000 people that are willing to give me $1 a piece that want to come see me, right? Rather than play for 5,000 people and getting paid $500 because some dickhead told me that that's what I get paid for playing for 5,000 people.
Yeah. It even sounded really intriguing when you framed it at the office like you can get $500 at the club and you're having to, potentially sacrifice your creativity to appease the people, or you can get 50 people to pay $10 at some Chinese food spot that you're playing that want to hear what you want to play.
Right.
Which
Why would you not do
500
that?
would you rather have?
Why would you not do that?
Yeah.
Right. And so there's a couple answers why you wouldn't do that, but none of them are good.
Yeah.
None of them are conducive to being a DJ. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're really a DJ, that's what you want to do. You want to play records for people.
And you've won Grammys. I mean, you're a producer through and through. It's the proof is in all of your accolades.
Yeah.
But you're still a DJ at heart. Like there's a lot of people, most I would say DJ producers are really trying to lean into the producer thing. They're trying to get away from the DJ title.
Yeah.
Like, oh, when I'm DJing, I only want to do shows where I'm playing my music.
Yeah.
And I don't see a lot of people that are like
it's
you.
It's the opposite for me. So when people book me, they think I'm going to show up and play all these songs that I made. And I want to play the songs that I love that made me make those songs, which are generally speaking not even close to this. A lot of times, I mean, there might be an element of the bass or some of the drums or whatever. But for me, it's I don't have an ego like that. I'm not going to go and shove down your throat a bunch of songs that I made, just to show you that I made them or whatever. And they're not my songs. I made really good songs for other people. You know what I mean? Very complex and rich and weird songs for other people. And so it's every once in a while I'll play something that I think did whatever, or I'll have a remix of something that I thought was more conducive to the way it would have gone had there not been 100 hands in the pot. But generally speaking, it's I want to play Change. I want to play Lover's Holiday. I want to play shit that I love and why I got into music. And so that's happened to me a number of times where it's hey, these guys want you to do their party, and it's do they? I'm not 100% sure that they do. You know what I mean? So I find the most joy a lot of the parties that I play where I have the most fun. People come up to me and be like, yo, dude, you got a card? Yo, where you play in the city? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not from here. I'm not even really a DJ anymore. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like I'm just here having fun. And so it's like those kind of things where nobody cares who I am or what I've done, but it's just they're like listening to stuff that I can lock in with a couple people and knock it out, you know? It's like that's when I know it's good. Right? It's like
Yeah.
so like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, Kerry Wood called me up and he was doing his induction in the Hall of Fame at Wrigley Field. He was like, I'm having a party, 200 people. Will you come play it? Kerry and I have known each other for a really long time, since he was pitching. And he I was like, yeah, of course, dude. Of course. Like, no big deal. And so I went and I showed up and I played exactly what I wanted to play. Exactly what I wanted to play. And there was like a couple, dudes that came up and were like, you got any Pantera? That were like, like Texas guys from where Kerry grew up, or like some of his high school buddies that were like, what the fuck is this you're playing? But there was a couple people that were like, oh shit. I could hear like a lady in the back will be like, oh, whatever, blah, blah, or see whatever. And it's like, no, I wasn't there to make the whole party jump off. I was only there to play music for like, just as a scene setter, right? But I was getting down, I was playing some nasty cuts, like some B cuts and some weird shit that like probably, Inside Out or like, the Nights Over Egypt, just like weird stuff that was like funky and cool. And the 3 or 4 people that knew what it was, that like heard it, that knew what it was, they were like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why is this guy at Kerry Wood's thing? It makes Kerry look cool, right? It makes Kerry look cool. The people that wanted Pantera were joking, but like most people, when they're there and there's really no sense in what you're doing, right? You're just playing music to people mingling, hanging out. Nobody's really gonna dance, blah blah. If you can get 4 or 5 people in the crowd to come over and be like, dude, what is this? What are you doing? That's what you want to do. That's the win. You know what I mean? And I'd much rather play like that than show up at a pool party. Not that I don't love pool parties, but like show up at a pool party and play like just banging ass John Summit remixes. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like for me, it's not as fulfilling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
You gotta take a shit?
Step in there.
John's gotta take a shit, everybody.
Too many long drinks.
You want another one? I'll get one ready for you after you pee.
I gotta break out in like 10 minutes.
Okay, all right, we'll wrap it. Very exciting news. Brand new sponsor for the show. Shouts to Long Drink. They see the vision. If you guys like what's going on here, you got to go buy some Long Drink. Thank you for watching. We'll be right back. Check this out. All right, party people, you know how it is. Late nights, great music, and that perfect vibe. And what's a better way to elevate the night than with a refreshing drink in your hand? I'm talking about the Finnish Long Drink. If you haven't heard of it yet, the Long Drink is not just any drink. It's a legendary Finnish favorite that's been around since the 1952 Summer Games. It's a deliciously refreshing blend of premium liquor, natural grapefruit flavor, and just the right amount of carbonation. It's smooth, crisp, and perfect for any occasion, whether you're chilling with friends, getting the weekend started, or just winding down after a set. And the best part? It's super convenient. No need to be a mixologist. Just crack the can and you've got a perfectly mixed, ready-to-drink cocktail. Whether you're into the classic, zero, or strong, there's a Long Drink for everyone. So next time you're tuning into the show or spinning your own beats, grab a Long Drink and take your night to the next level, because good vibes deserve great drinks. Cheers to the perfect mix. Music and Long Drink. Let's go, champ. Let's get back to the show. Thank you guys for watching. Shouts to Long Drink. Make sure you go grab one. Peace. These are like all the questions and sort of like just like the nail that I'm trying to hammer. Like when I'm talking to Tanya, but I'm like a little bit weary of it because I don't want to make it seem like I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but like, what about this? You know what I mean?
Yeah, listen, we're at the stage right now, like where really all I care about is people saying, hey, I'm DJ Strategy, and look, this is Setspace. This is how I this is how I describe myself. And by the end of November, I'm gonna have like more stuff built out, forums, like administrators for forums, like questions and answers, like trying to get back into like research and development, because really I want it to be what people want it to be. I'm not stuck to like one thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I want it to be useful. Like, right?
Yeah.
It's not, I'm not sitting here saying like, how can I want it to be a booking thing so I can make 20% off of these guys.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck like about that. Like, I want to be something that people can use over and over again, and something that grows and people can talk to each other about. Hey man, I'm talking AI program 1, AI program 2. Which one do I use? Well, here's a bunch of DJs telling you which one that you use that are actually DJs that are actually verified, that actually people think are cool. Because here's the thing, some people that I fuck with might not know you, and some people that you fuck with might not know me. But if we vouch for each other on a thing, then we become something that everybody can fuck with, right?
Yeah.
So it's like that's the idea. And like to say, okay, this AI thing is gonna ass itself out because it's violated all these copyright laws that go back to the 1970s. They don't have enough money to fight it. So anything you've ever made with that, you're gonna get sued over, right? Any record that you made with that, they can identify and they're gonna sue over. So don't use it. This AI thing is completely programmed by musicians, and it's all original music. So if you are using something, you need to be using this because it's got longevity, and you're not going to lose your ass on it. It might not be the forerunner right now, but it is, it's something that's going to last for a long time. And then to say even like, hey, Pioneer wants to ask people that are DJs like what they think about the new CDJ needs to get rid of or needs to keep. And it's like they go to certain DJs that are big that might not be the right people to ask. You know what I mean? Because if you're sitting there asking a DMC DJ like what they should contribute to the next turntable, then you're only pitching yourself, holding yourself to the small segment of people that are DJs for that thing. Why are you not asking like these guys over here, or some fucking nerds that's all they care about? They don't have a following on Instagram. They have 150 followers, but they're the most technically nerdy motherfuckers on the planet that have studied this inside and out. So it's like finding in that person, that's what they can be known for on this platform. You don't need to be, you can be some fucking ugly hunchback of Notre Dame that sits in your fucking room all day and be the smartest motherfucker of all time. And on this platform, you will be respected. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I just love, I love getting away from the mission of getting followers and then taking what you're trying to promote and giving it to those specific people.
yeah,
I want to see, I feel like there's just an opportunity to use this in a different way than every other platform that's just like, all right, do something. There's an algorithm. If you catch a wave on it, you get some followers, and then those people will see the next thing you post.
With good intent, we're on the same page. We're on the same page, but like, there's no way that you can do all that in your head and put it out. It's this miracle system that it fixes all the problems. You have to like actually put the bike on the road before you figure out if the seat's gonna ram you in the butt too hard while you're fucking going over bumps. So it's like that's where we're at right now. Like, it's like, okay, I didn't throw this up and be like, oh, it's $2.99, everybody fucking jump on. It's like I picked people that I could have conversations with the same way that I would want to intelligently have conversations with somebody about music, people that care about not just music, but about the system, and say, hey, what are we missing? Like, how do we build this? Like, what do we need to build here? What do we need to take away? What do we need to add? And it's not going to be right overnight. Like, nothing good is right overnight. But the intent is right. The intent's been right since the very beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm very, very cautious of that.
Because that's what's going to really push you in the direction you're trying to go, no matter, all the testings, all the, how is the bicycle seat going too far up my ass? It doesn't matter. The intent is there.
Yeah. Yeah. and with good intent, good things always happen. That's the vibe.
Will you hand that to Syph over there?
To this guy. Here you go.
Thanks. Yeah,
Here you
there
go, sweaty
you go.
Betty.
Nice cold one.
Hey.
New flavor alert.
The last thing I'll say is that like it's one of those things where if you could snap your fingers and figure out the world's problems, like everybody would do it, right? If you could snap your fingers and make a song that was going to win a Grammy or a movie that was going to win an Oscar, whatever, people just do it. The only way you could ever build something, your career, restore an old motorcycle, organize your computer, whatever it is, it's like the only way you can do that is with good intent. Like, it's like you have to be in a position where you're like, you want something that's the best for everyone, and you want something that's the best for yourself, and like something that moves the needle, moves things forward. So when you make mistakes, people allow you to make those mistakes. If you're the Fire Festival guy and you're like, oh, I'm fucking about to cash in. We're about to do this thing. And you throw this fucking party and you shit the bed. Which I just read a thing the other day that he is getting a second crack at the fucking whip at this thing. Is he making a second one?
I don't know if things are memes. I don't know if things are AI generated. Yeah. I don't know what's going on half the time on the internet.
It wouldn't surprise me if he was, but it would surprise me if people actually fucking win. You know what I mean? But we live in a weird society.
We live in a crazy place in a crazy time. It's insane.
But I do think that like once you do something good and right and with intent, like that, people do pay attention, probably more than you think.
I completely agree. I mean, just based off of like watching you move and work and putting that whole event together at Starbucks, incredibly inspiring.
Oh, thanks, man.
It was awesome. And I think that's the most cool part about this app is that it was born from, you talked about on the last pod, having DJ friends that just got crushed in the pandemic, and you wanting to help them, because DJing is a viable career option, but half of us don't know what we're doing in terms of business or
sometimes I don't
marketing
again, one could sit on an ivory tower and be like, look at me, look at all this stuff I've done, what a fucking genius I am, my car is so expensive and I live in this monster house and I'm so brilliant, all you dumb motherfuckers still DJing in Chicago, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm telling you the exact opposite. I still have no fucking idea what I'm doing. I don't know anything except for I love music dearly. And I know how important it is, not just to me, to other people. And I can tell the difference when I'm doing it and I love it, and I'm doing it and I don't love it. And I know the way to make myself love it more, which I feel like would be great to extend to other people. And so for me, this is more like, this is not a case where I'm looking down my nose at like people that never won a Grammy. Like, I don't even know what the fuck how I did that. Like, like, honestly, it's like a lot of times I'm like, really it doesn't matter to me at all. So honestly, it doesn't matter to me at all. It matters to other people because people will be like, oh my God, that guy won a Grammy. It's like, what does that even mean? You don't even know what that means. You know what I mean? You saw it on TV, so you're like, and whatever. Or, oh man, my neighbor knows Lady Gaga. It's like, okay, well, who do you know? You know what I mean? It's not that she's over here cutting my lawn for me. I'm out cutting my lawn, So I guess what I'm saying is that like it's less about me saying this is what it is and this is what everybody has to do and this is going to fix the problem. It's me saying like, we all care. Every DJ that I know that I actually like or actually want to listen to or actually like have admired, which are thousands and thousands of DJs, share one common thread. We're all confused. Everybody's confused. Everybody from D Nice and Swedish House Mafia and Jazzy Jeff and you know what I mean, Scratch Bastard. Fuck, Scratch Bastard is won the DMC and then made a hot sauce and had a barbecue and then there's hip hop shit going on and he's got this giant record collection behind him and he's online and Spider's doing a fucking podcast and you're doing a podcast and all these things are great things, but how do we get them fucking organized, right? How do we organize this stuff to make it all make sense? Like let's try together to think about how we can help each other and how we can build this thing together to make it all make sense. Because there's not like doctors aren't like cutting out of the emergency room and like running and doing a podcast about the state of doctoring. You know what I mean? Doctors are chilling on a boat after they get out of the emergency room, I think. I don't know many doctors. But like in my brain, it's like we are like this weird marginalized group of like artists that don't always get recognized as artists, but like are constant, are like a constant. Tuba players aren't a constant. Saxophone players aren't a constant. DJs are a constant. You know what I mean? In the 80s, like everybody had a saxophone player. You know what I mean? There were DJs then. Now it's like every fucking DJ's got, you know, private jet. Still DJs, you know? I mean, there's still, you know, from 1906 to whatever year we're in now, 2024, it's like DJs have been there the whole time. And so I think that it deserves respect. But if you don't ask for respect, that goes for anybody. If you don't ask for respect or know that you should get respect, nobody's ever going to give you respect. You know? I just talked to somebody who was flying to a very famous DJ competition, and they said, oh, we had to pay for our own ticket in our own hotel room to compete. It was in a different fucking country. I'm like, why would you do that? Why would you do that? Why would you fucking go make money for them? They're going to broadcast you, put you out. What do you get out of that? Well, if I win, I'm the champion. How much you get paid after that's over? Do people care? Well, you know, it's something that means something to me. Okay, well, it should mean something to everybody if it means something to you. So how do you get that message out that it should mean something to everybody? So it's like curling. DJing is...
Curling is the dopest sport to watch, but like, who the fuck is a curler?
Dope. It is dope. But if you had a David Beckham looking motherfucker out there curling, I mean, maybe more people would look at it. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, nobody's really... in my realm of knowledge, which I'm not saying is infinite, it's definitely finite. My brain, through what I've looked at, there's never been a time where people were like, let's figure this thing out together. Like maybe I told you this, but there was like a DJ union in like New York in the 70s that I found, and they all got together and they were like, fuck you, pay us more money, and the club owners were like, go fuck yourselves, and they crashed and burned really quickly. You know what I mean? But the things that do survive are like record pools where like DJs get to talk about the music that they like, right? Like there's a lot of big record pools, like when people were actually handing out vinyl records. And to be frank with you, the first place that I came to in Chicago, literally the very first place I came to in Chicago was the people that were servicing me my records in Detroit. The first place I went to, because they were sending me from here every time. I figured out where it was, drove over there, went in the door, said, hey, you guys have been sending me records for the last 5 years. Who do I? Dave, you talked on the phone, blah, blah. Like that was, you know what I mean? Like that was like the first place I went to. So what I'm saying is we don't have like a, you know, when you walk down Sunset Boulevard and you're going to the Griddle, there's the Directors Guild where I'm sure directors can go and have discussions. And when you go to the Musicians Union, there's places with the Grammy Museum. People have discussions about that particular thing. You can go and sit and listen to Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis tell you stuff about production or why they were great and why they're doing what they're doing now and what they wish they would have done different. I don't think we have that for DJs.
No, and I would love to see that happen.
Yeah.
And I respect so much that you're
we're going to make it
taking the reins and doing something and sitting here saying, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got good intent and one foot in front of the other. Let's go.
Yeah, that's it.
It's incredible.
I hope so.
It's
you could
definitely
totally fuck this up too. Well, we'll talk next year and see how bad I fucked it up.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Oh shit! All right.
You're the man. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for chopping it
thanks,
up with
dude.
me. Thank you for letting me pick your brain.
Well, I love
Thanks for bringing Syph.
it. The podcast killer.
Podcast killer. Thank you guys for watching. If you're on YouTube, do a favor, subscribe to the channel, like the video, drop a comment, all that good stuff. And we'll see you next time. Thank you. Peace.
Well, alright. Battle raps cause I've shaken grown men to the point that they can't even face their own friends. That's why they rhyme about jewels, not life, cause the ice on which they skating is so thin. That's what I love about the human soul. It'll usually show when the truth ain't told. Use a lie.